Welcome back to the Hoets-Turner ceramics channel. If you've watched the two videos before this, you would have seen me throwing these pots for Grills of Japan, then turning these pots, and now it's time to glaze them. I'm actually going to be showing you a raw glaze process. Normally you would bisque to 1000 degrees and then glaze, but because these pots only need to go to 1000 degrees, because I need to keep the clay relatively porous, as what happens with the actual bisced charcoal gets put into the pot and you put the lid on the pot, which then extinguishes the charcoal, and it needs to be able to absorb the heat, the porous pot. If it gets too high fired, if it goes to 1200 degrees, which is normally a stoneware firing, the actual clay particles are too compacted together that it would shatter. So that's why I do it as a raw glazing process. So I've got a glaze ready mixed up in the bucket, and I'm actually going to put the pots upside down on a little stand with a sponge, and I'm going to pour the glaze over. I have to handle the pots so carefully in this process because the pot is brittle clay and it's very dry, so opposed to a nice bisque piece which is much more easy to handle. So it's a little bit stressful, but yeah, I've done it before. I've now placed sponges inside, nice thick sponges inside the pot. I'm placing it very gently, like that. I'm mixing my glaze, and I'm pouring it over the feet because I really want the feet to stick nicely. I'm blowing it off the bottom so it doesn't start pooling. Because the clay is raw, I don't want it to start pooling and like literally dissolving the clay. So I'll wait a little bit for that. You can see it starts to dry very quickly. Grab some more glaze. And do it again this time. I've also got the lid, which I will pour the glaze into. And just let it roll out like that. Also, I do is I put it in like that. Tip the rim. I'm just going to get at least 3 layers of glaze onto my pots. I've poured the 3rd layer of glaze now. Now what I need to do is I take a sponge and I just start to clean up the glaze very lightly on the lid, and I wipe the little feet. It's very important to do this because you don't want the glaze then to stick onto the kiln shaft. So it's one of the most important things you learn as a potter is to also how high you must wipe the foot. This isn't a runny glaze, so I don't have to wipe too high, but it's very important to not forget that step. So I'm just wiping the lid nicely off so it doesn't stick to the pot. But you'll see what I do just now is I'm actually going to make sure that the lid is raised in the pot, and I'm going to use a little bit of kiln blanket for that. I've already done it on this pot. You'll see the lid is slightly raised just in case that actually grips, and I don't really particularly want any explosions. It's more actually about explosions. If the lid is on absolutely airtight, what happens is you create a bomb in the kiln because the air can't escape, because it's a raw glaze, it's a bisque. It has to go very slowly, and I need to make sure there's going to be an air gap. So I'm just firing the pot with the lids on, but they're going to wipe that sufficiently. Try to avoid as many fingerprints as possible. Hold the pot very gently like that. Quite a lot of glaze has run into the lid, but hasn't run into the pot, so it's perfect. It always just runs a little bit. in like that. There, I'll just show you the looks. I just do a gentle wipe. I'll just take this like this, clean it around, and now take the sponge out of my pot. I've got a little bit of fiber kiln blanket that I've put in. I've broken 4 small little pieces of it off. I'm putting them into the pot lid like this. I then take the lid, which I've already wiped. Just give it a small little layer like that. And I just place it on like that. And get ready for the next one. The perspective of everything that's going on in here, and I need to open my kiln because I need to repack my kiln, so it's always exciting opening and seeing a glaze firing. Yay! Looks good. I've got some stuff for Casa Boho, got some orders, I've got a little crock pot at the top there, some weights, so very excited to do that. So that must cool down so I can get these pots in. I've just unpacked a glaze firing, and I've now just repacked all the pots for Grills of Japan in the kiln. I'm going to close the door and start firing. So I've just opened the kiln and I'm really happy. The pots have worked out perfectly. The glaze is exactly how I wanted it to look. When the pots are really hot, I usually always start at the bottom and bring them across. Because the top are always where it's hottest. Unfortunately, I don't have the luxury of time today and waiting for it to cool down. So I'm gonna have to, I want to grab the top pot, double up my Well, here we go. They're all done. I'm very happy with my pots. I just open the lid and I take the little pieces of fluff out, and they worked really well inside. Nice and hot still. If you like my video, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos.